Okay, at the risk of becoming the door guy, here's another door in our house that's not put in very well. And there's other issues with this closet, but let's start right here at the beginning. I think you can see how big the gap gets at this side. So this one isn't hung exactly right either, but at least it does latch right, but only because somebody carved out a new spot for the striker there, so that's going to be kind of hard to fix. Now the other thing I was thinking, as long as I'm going to take this door off, the inside of this closet needs a lot of work. You can see that this shelf here, this is that damned particle board here, and it's just sagged so much that you can't even get a hanger off of here. You got to move clear out to the edge. And in fairness to this particle board, there actually was a plumbing leak here. There's no baseboard around the bottom of this closet. It's becoming kind of a catch-all here, but I think we can make this look pretty nice. That's the existing conditions on the ground here. So it looks pretty bad, but you know, if it looks bad in the beginning, it's gonna look really good in contrast when we get it done. Let's get started. You're watching On the Mark with Mark. Right, Here's what that access panel was covering. I do like the idea that we can get to this plumbing now, and I'm gonna make the access hole here a little more formal. I've got everything out of the inside of the closet. Now I'm gonna take this door off, and I'm gonna start by removing this trim, and I'm gonna use this wide putty knife. Now that's pretty down to the bare bones here. See what we have here now? We just have the rough opening and a bare closet. So I'll be able to rehang that door and get it to operate correctly. Here's those shims I was talking about that really aren't shims. They just stuck a spacer in there, and the roof framing is not square enough to allow a door to operate correctly. That's why you gotta shim things. So I'll get those spacers off of there, and when we put it back on, we'll be sure to use shims. Wall is prepped for painting, and now I'm gonna clean up this plumbing opening here so that we can have a little more formal opening to it. So I don't want to drywall this closed again, because if we needed access to it once, we'll probably need it again. So let's clean this up a little bit. Just gonna make this straighter across here, and we're gonna go all the way out to the front. Now I've got a nice unobstructed hole to get into all this plumbing here. And I'm gonna make a hatch here like you see in a lot of attics. So we'll be able to just lift this up, turn it sideways, and drop it out of here. And then if the plumber needs to get up there, we don't have to tear up a bunch of drywall in the future. This is going to be the shelf in that closet. And I've taken this piece of cardboard, and on this end I've coped and scribed everything to the inside of that closet on one end, and then I scribed the other side to the other end of the closet. So now I can just set it on here, and I can duplicate my scribed line on this end, and then I'll slide her down here, and then I'll duplicate the same thing on this end. And then I took this level and I added this stick to it, and that is the inside dimension of that closet. this up like that, and then I'm going to throw one in. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Up there, and there, and there, and there. This is going in two pieces with a spline joint that I'm not going to glue. That just slides right in here. And then I'll put the two together. There went my light. And there we have it. The little hidden shelf. This shelf I've put in a closet before, and it fits right back here nice and neat behind the rod. And it's surprising the little things that you can throw back there, not just gloves and that. We used to keep card games and that back there, so it's real easy to put in. Thought I'd put it in here. Here's what I'm looking at now. This striker plate got relocated because this door was put in out of square. And I'm left with a real mess here. So what I'm going to do is, I have this piece of white oak here, and it's a pretty good match of the grain. You know, it's going to need to be stained, but I'm going to cut out a section here, and I'm going to glue this in. So I'll have, you know, a nice solid piece of wood to carve my new striker plate in to here. This was, if you look, it's just particle board here. It's got a thin layer of the white oak on it, but I'm going to make it so that it's going to be solid oak. It won't be this thick. I'll cut this down a little bit. And I took off this board here, which is what the door hits. And what that's going to do is then the joint for this will be behind that other board. So you won't see this vertical joint. There'll just be two pieces on the end where it joins together. So I'm going to cut this out. Then I'm going to cut this to the right size to fit in there. Then I'm going to cut a plate joint around the edges of both of these, and it's going to slide in there, and we'll glue it, and that should be good. And then there'll be a little bit of forming on the edges and that. one good shot is all we need here. Here we go. Okay. The inside of that closet is not square, and this is going to fit up in there and cover that hole where the plumbing access is, but unfortunately, like I said, it's not square up there, so I'm going to have to cut a taper in this frame here, and I need to take off about 3/16 of an inch off of this corner and then taper down to nothing. So this is my homemade tapering fixture with You may recall this area was majorly goobered up by someone in the past. You can kind of see where this could have fit on here, maybe up here, down here, but it was somewhere in the middle, which looks like that was the one somebody else cut in there. Uh, I couldn't tolerate that, so I cut that section out here, and then I laid in a new piece of wood, and instead of being this particle board stuff, this is actual solid white oak here. So I'm going to lay this in here with chisel and some knives, and we'll see how it goes. Holy smokes, that's hard. I intentionally left the board off here that the door comes in and hits, so that I could have a nice flat surface to run the router on here. So now I just have to carefully route that out. There we go. It's in there. Now we just need to stain this, and then it'll match really nicely. Okay, I got to straighten up a couple of these. They're a little crooked. We'll get them straight up and down. This doesn't go all the way across. It stops right there because you wouldn't be able to get into anything back here anyway, so I decided I didn't want to do that. Now, another thing that's here is I kept this short on the bottom and on the top, these vertical pieces, because that round over looks better if you can keep it back a little ways. So this will be good for gloves, hats, scarves, that sort of thing for this closet. And we're going to stop this week's video right here. There's more that I'm going to do. I've got an idea for a way to hold folding chairs in here, and an ironing board, and even our American flag. So a little more work to do here. We'll get to that next week. Thanks for watching On the Mark with Mark.